But every time you turn away, every time you dodge the conversation, every time you take his desire for connection as a personal attack on your ability to love, the wall between you gets higher. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Sex After Kids podcast. We are still working on Studio HQ here. I'm in the blue ocean if you are listening on the podcast, but things are coming along. This week, I'm doing something a little different, not so different. I don't know. I lose track a little bit. I really got motivated reflecting on my history, my past, and a moment I had kind of forgotten about, which was with an ex who kind of gave me an ultimatum. We had an icky experience in the bedroom where, looking back now, I realized that I was triggered. I pushed him off me in a very unceremonious way, and it didn't feel good for either of us. And I had a history before meeting my current partner and my husband of enjoying sex for about the first 6 months, and then I would kind of hit a wall. And for a lot of women, that's a very common story, especially if we have any kind of trauma. And it can be small trauma. It can be just existing as a woman in the world. There's this baseline in our body of sex feeling inaccessible, challenging, distant, hard to access. And so we're able to muster it kind of in the early stages of arousal and connection. And then as soon as longer term sets in, the wall kind of goes up. And that really can sometimes have nothing to do with your partner. You could have the sweetest, safest man in the world, but if he doesn't know how to deal with it or interact with it, it can be challenging. And also you can have a partner who makes it worse. And so I was thinking back on that moment and how shitty it was to have a partner say to me kind of point blank, like, you need to fix whatever's going on with you in sex. Otherwise, I don't know if I'm going to stick around. And also, I kind of have to thank him. You know who you are if you're listening. Thank you, because I don't think I'd be here if it weren't for that. Sex was this challenging and scary thing for me. It was like this hole next to me that I didn't want to go into and figure out and solve, but it just kept creating this wall between me and my partners. And that ultimatum sucked, and it could have felt selfish on his part, but really it led me down a path of fixing this whole sex thing for me, not for him, not for us, for me. And when I did that, it changed everything for me, but also for my relationships and my connection. So long story short, this episode is for you if you are that partner. And in particular, if you are that partner who's your partner, your spouse is trying to have this conversation with you, not giving you this ultimatum, but gently or not so gently asking you to visit this issue with you. And it feels like a big, dark, and scary hole that you don't want to look at, but your relationship is struggling. And if you're the higher libido partner and you're sharing this with your lower libido partner, like, hello, my lower libido friend, like, I am you. We are the same in many ways. So many of the women that I talk to struggle with this. And I just really invite you to take a deep breath with me and listen with open ears. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to share why this was important to me so that hopefully you can decide for yourself with new perspective what is worth taking on and tackling and changing and what might not be for yourself. Okay? So really, I mean, I'll take you back to my 20s, and maybe this was your experience and maybe it wasn't. But for years, I really thought that something was kind of fundamentally wrong with me. I had a lot of painful intercourse, even though, I didn't have babies or anything yet at that point. I was constantly at the gynecologist with UTIs and yeast infections and all of the things. And orgasm felt very elusive. I remember being in one of my very first women's circles, which felt so woo-woo and weird to me at the time, and just kind of raising my hand and being like, just the glorious, all-encompassing, bone-melting orgasm even fucking exist? You know? Is it just some myth? And I remember this quiet lady who was in her 60s, like raised her hand and was like, when my mind is as expansive as the universe, like so are my orgasms. And it always gets me thinking a little bit on how maybe deep down there's a bit of envy is kind of the wrong word for us women. Where like men just have so much access to their sexuality. They have access to their penises from such a young age. They have permission in a lot of ways, not always, for their sexuality. And for us, it is survival to actually shut down around sexuality, right? If you think about it, you turned 13 and someone told you that the only thing men want is to get into your pants. And that's it. There's the wall. Shoop. And the problem is that that's a survival strategy that's protecting you from being hurt. But in a long-term relationship with a person who cares about you, who's working really hard on your relationship, which is not all cases, but most of the cases I talk to, that wall of protection you've created is now a wall that is killing your marriage, your relationship, and the things that you care about most. And I know what it feels like to shut down from that conversation because deep down underneath it all, you just feel like you're not enough. You feel like whatever you do is not enough and you don't know how to figure this out. And I want to just like reach through the screen and reach through your ear pods here and hug you and tell you that your body and your libido and your sexual desire are like perfect as they are. And they have been whittled to nothing by a society that wants to keep you in a box. And so the question for me is like, do you want to keep hiding behind this wall or do you want to melt it and see what the possibilities are for you and for your marriage when you get courageous enough to look into that deep and dark, scary hole that I talked about? The big thing with libido that I want you to know in that, right, is like you're not broken. So many women in this situation have what we call a brake issue, not a gas pedal issue. Okay. So your partner's standing there and they're like, why don't you hit the gas? But your life is slamming on the brakes of your little libido car, right? The mental load, running a business, the visual clutter of a messy kitchen, 47 tabs open in your brain about school lunches and that email you forgot to send. Like all of that is a break. Feeling used for sex is a break. Feeling pressured into sex is a break. Feeling like the only reason you exist is to please your partner is a break, whether that's true or not. And so when you say, I just don't care about sex anymore, what your body is actually screaming is, my brakes are so heavy, so worn down from overuse that I cannot even find the gas pedal right now. You do not have low drive. You have a sensitive and overused brake system. Once you see that, to me, everything changed because I could stop trying to fix my desire and I could stop trying to fix something that was broken. And instead, I could learn how to take the brakes off so that my libido had a fighting chance and I could start to work with my body instead of against it. When we're stuck in this, oh, fuck you, why won't you work body mode, we are in a battle of wills, me versus me. My spouse is not even in the picture at this point. But when I can soften that, when I can start to become friends with my body, with my vagina, when I can understand what it needs, when I can be like, I got your back, girl, to my own body, then we can take the brakes off the gas pedal and the car can go. Okay. The real talk for me, the important piece out of this episode is, the truth that I want to offer, which is if you've been feeling like you've been receiving some form of an ultimatum or that the ultimatum is coming or you're afraid that an ultimatum is going to come, I know it feels easier to shut down. I know it feels safer to build a wall of I'm too tired and I'm too busy and I have a headache. I have built that wall. I was the master architect of that wall. But every time you turn away, every time you dodge the conversation, every time you take his desire for connection as a personal attack on your ability to love, the wall between you gets higher. And eventually you're just not even having sex at all. You're living with a stranger that you share bills with, and you become like worse than roommates almost, right? We stop laughing at the same things. We stop holding hands in the car. The physical distance creates this emotional distance until one day we look across the dinner table and we feel very alone within our relationship. And what I wish each of you could hear so importantly is that men are in a very double bind right now where it's impossible for them to talk about this without sounding like a douche or being heard like a douche who only wants sex. And what I mean by that is every single guy, and I talk to several a week who are trying to fix this challenge in their relationship, are not really looking for sex. And what I mean by that is they're not looking for orgasm. They're not looking to put it in a hole. They desperately want you to hear that they are asking for connection. What they're looking for is, are you still in this with me? Do you still choose me? Is this a partnership, or do you just need me to pay bills and lift heavy things and help with laundry and move garbage? Your partner wants a relationship that feels alive, thriving, and connected, or the best version of that's possible in this season. And intimacy and sex are a part of the current that makes it feel that way. Now, I want to be super crystal clear here, okay? If you have a partner who is tone deaf, who is not doing their own work, who absolutely treats you like an object, who is not a safe person to be vulnerable with, I want you to disregard everything I'm saying because that's a different and deeper problem, okay? But I talk to many, many men who are genuinely trying. They're the ones going to counseling. They're the ones reading the book. They're the one trying to start the conversation. They are trying everything they can, every angle they can to start this conversation without creating pressure. But they keep being met with the wall, right? And this is where it comes back to that ultimatum from my partner, where did it suck at the time? Did it feel shitty at the time? Yeah, but we marry our work. We marry our work. And we don't always get to blame that discomfort we feel when we bump into that work because of our partner. We don't get to blame it on them. It's not always their fault. It's because we're married with them that we're bumping into this work. And so the number one thing, in my opinion, that we need for a relationship to be successful is the ability to talk honestly, like real vulnerable honesty about what we both need and to problem solve that together. And if you keep putting up that wall because sex is taboo, because we don't talk about sex, because sex is not safe, you are creating a situation where there's a stalemate in your relationship and there isn't an ability to move forward to create what you both want together because this one topic is something we're not allowed to talk about from society, right? So the question for you is, I know you are busy and I know life is demanding. And to me, the choice is simple, right? We marry our work. You either face this as a team where neither of you is broken and both of you are missing skills and you and your partner work on this together, or quite literally, you do your partner the kindness of ending your relationship because so many of you are hanging out in relationship purgatory, which is pleasant for neither of you, and it is not what we want to role model to our kids. So I ask you to invite yourself. Can I hear what my partner is truly asking for underneath my assumptions and maybe their poorly worded expression? Do I want this relationship to feel amazing, and am I willing to create that with this person or not? Even if it's slow. Only you can decide those things, but not deciding them is what is hurting you both. Okay, so last little piece here, right? I talked about that dark, scary hole that I just didn't want to look at for the longest time. And none of us wants to look at it, right? Whenever something triggers that uncomfortable, scary feeling of what's down there? What am I going to find, right? When I finally decided to crawl down there, I learned that the voice of avoidance in my head was a fucking liar. Okay. I found a sad little me in that hole who just wanted her agency back. She wanted her pleasure back. She wanted the ability to create and offer like permission back. There wasn't some big scary monster ready to eat me. Reclaiming your sexuality, and that's really what we're talking about, can be deep work for sure. I don't want to deny that, but it also doesn't have to be as hard as your brain is making it to be. Your brain is trying to protect you. Those little brain gremlins are telling you this is impossible. It's a mountain we can't climb because it doesn't wants to save you from the disappointment. But I am living proof, and so are the women that I work with, that we can climb this mountain. It's not actually a mountain, it's a molehill. And we can get there. We can rebuild that connection to ourselves, to safety around sex, to safety with our partner, one small step at a time, even between bedtime duty and dishes. I know that because I have done it with a teen and two littles through an autoimmune disorder and a vagina that still to this day doesn't always love to loosen up. Okay. What if the path back to a full-blooded yes to your partner started with a trail of small maybes? What if you could create a literal kind of breadcrumb trail of small positive moments so your body could remember, yes, sex can be fun, connection can be fun, safe, love can feel good, and pleasure can be damn delicious. And that's what really leads me to my last point, right? Because as women, we have these walls around sex for so many reasons. But the biggest one is that our whole lives, we have learned that it is something that we do for someone else. The magic in taking it back, in deciding that it is something that can be just for us, is powerful. And it's powerful because pleasure is literally medicine. Okay. Two books that changed my life here were Naomi Wolf's Vagina, A New Biography, and Shake Your Soul Song by my teacher, Davy Ward. In Naomi Wolf's book, she talks in short about how women or vulva owning people, when our brains are on orgasms, we see the world in more interconnected ways. We problem solve better. We just have these magical superpowers and we would be running the world. And that is exactly why the patriarchy has cut us off from our very own power source. When you stop treating your vagina like something you can just lock up without consequence and open to the possibility that she is your second heart and the key to your personal unbridled happiness, everything shifts. I want you to close your eyes for a minute and just imagine what the, pardon my English, well fucked you looks like, right? The you that knows what she wants and takes it without guilt. The you that can relish in what feels good without feeling judged. The you that expresses without worrying she is taking up too much space. The you that is alive, abundant, joyful, decisive. Do you remember her? Did she ever even fully exist? Your partner remembers pieces of her, and really his invitation, his request, his ask is for you to step into this version of you, of your marriage and your life. And when you are willing to do that, even one teeny tiny toe dip into the water at a time, truly wonderful things are on the other side of meeting your partner there. And most importantly, doing it as a team. That's what I've got to say, my loves, today. I hope there was something useful for you. If this resonated, if this hit home, if you want to talk more about it, email me, find me in the Instagram DMs. Let me know where you're at, and I'll share one small step you can take. Even just reading those two books that I mentioned, I'll link them in the show notes, is a beautiful way to start. But really, if you have a husband or a partner who is genuinely asking you to come sit around this topic and every part of you wants to scream, maybe it's not really about them. And could there be something so amazing for you on the other side if you make it about you? Thanks for being here with me today.